Beg pardon?
I said, I abstain.
Part of the agenda today, I wanted to put it before you. I am not asking for a motion of approval or anything of that nature at this time. I wanted to, you might remember that we had a visit from ACCG representative, Mr. David, what's David's last name? David Wills, along with the University of Georgia School of Government representative. They gave us some suggestions that we were looking at. One of them being that, and we discussed fervently the limited resources that we had, the issues that we anticipated looking at through the course of the year. One of the recommendations were that we exhaust all sources of revenues to get through the year. I think the position of this board has been to not use any more tax anticipation notes than essential or necessary. I do know that I asked Mr. Barton to inquire and find out if any more was available from the lending agencies that we are using, which is Wells Fargo. Ms. Barton, you did that when, on what date?
It's been about 3 weeks ago.
And the word is that they reviewed our situation and said essentially that if we got to the point that we needed additional funds, that would be available. Is that correct?
They have actually agreed to loan us the money upon the date the board decides to draw it down.
Okay.
And at the interest rate of 2.1%, which is the same as our original came.
Okay, so in other words, I wanted the board to be informed of what position we were looking at, criteria that we would have to review in the coming weeks. And at this point in time, again, I do not ask for any motion or anything else to document that. But we did go and make that effort to identify the availability and for that purpose. Any other question regarding the information that was presented today?
I would like to ask, like to comment. Last time we did it, it was necessary. We built a budget that I say is also necessary to go and get it either now or later, but we're gonna have to get it. I don't see getting around it. The other thing I want to say in conjunction with that is we also need to go ahead and start for the budget for the coming year, because the only way we're going to get out of this thing is to increase our millage, and that I don't see doing it all at once, but it's the only way I see getting out of it, unless this economic downtrend turns around fast, and it doesn't seem to be doing that. So I would say with a 2.1% interest rate, we might as well go and get it now, because the only thing it's going to do is go higher, I suspect. I don't know. And I don't know how long that is good for either.
We typically have it good for 45 days. And the other part of that is significant is that QE2 is supposed to end in June. And after that point in time, if that indeed does take place, if Ben Bernanke does stop the qualitative easing, there will be no money available, in my opinion.
Let's, I hear the remarks, and I know the time frame is there. I prefer that we go back and review our budget again. And I will tentatively say that between now and the next meeting, we will schedule a work session, because we know the figures are before us for some possible amendments. So I recognize the urgency of the situation of where we're at. I'm just saying that from the standpoint of a review of need, the expenditures and the budget figures that we're looking at, let's put it out there in the next week and come back for a work session regarding where we are and what we got to get. Targets that we got to meet. And posing that to the board at this time, so tentatively, we'll try to shoot for next week for a work session, okay?
That on the budget,
The,
Mr. Chairman?
Beg pardon?
That's on the budget? Is that the work session be on the 011 budget?
That will be a review of budget items, Commissioner, on the 2008-11 budget, along with what the other discussion we had on revenue. I've shared with the board, Mr. Bart shared with the board before, I have shared with the board, we know that the collection of revenue from the loss has still not come back from what it was prior to 2008. We know that it is getting better, but it has not. We know that our overall picture has not really gotten rosy. So there's going to be those challenges out there that we got to step up to. So yes, we'll look at the budget and all aspects of it. Okay. With that, I'll move on to the next item, support